Well, in ice hockey, Durham... take a massive step nearer a league return.
An army of Darlington diehards made their way to Barnet for the top-of-the-table clash that would point the way to league football for one of the sides at the end of the day. They were nearly rewarded when Jim Willis went close with this header after just 10 minutes. The game was always near boiling point and Barnet's Phil Gridlett was in the thick of it for most of the time. On this occasion, Archie Stevens clashes with the big man in a flying tackle. The row and the treatment for Gridlett was to continue for some time, but he managed to get back on his feet just in time to see Darlington take the lead. A free kick just inside their own half eventually found its way through to the front line, and John Borthwick makes no mistake to put the Quakers one up. The celebrations were almost cut short when this tremendous run straight from the restart ended in a weak shot flying well wide of the target for Barnet's strike force. Then, with just a few minutes left before half-time, Brian Little's men proved that they deserved to be back in the big time by making sure of the points. David Corner shrugs off a body blow to strike an even bigger one to the hopes of Barnet. That means Darlington are still second in the Conference League, but they've closed the gap to 1 point, have 3 games in hand and 4 home games coming up.
Well, what a final few weeks of the season it promises to be.
Of a nervous
the top of the table clash in the Vauxhall Conference and saw Darlington take the lead after the ball eventually runs through to John Borthwick. He makes no mistake. Before the kick-off, Brian Little's men would have settled for a point, especially when you've got 3 games in hand on Barnet. But David Corner wasn't prepared to leave it at that. He shrugs off this challenge to put the result beyond doubt. A fantastic weekend for Darlington. I'm sure they'll be a great asset to the big time. And hopefully, Borough back in the big time again, Frosty?
Next season, when they beat Vauxhall Conference rivals Barnet on Saturday. Well, although Darlington have games in hand over Barnet, defeat would have seen the North London side go 7 points clear at the top. As it was, a 2-0 win saw Darlington move to within 1 point of Barnet. Almost 6,000 fans saw the game, better than all but one 4th Division gate and most 3rd Division attendances on Saturday. Steve Sutton reports.
This was the conference's most eagerly awaited game, and tickets for the 6,000 sellout were snapped up weeks ago. 1,100 Darlington fans made the journey south to see if their team could avenge the defeat inflicted on them by Barnet at Feetham's earlier in the season. With Barnet top and Darlington second, it was always likely to be a tension-packed game. David Corner's intervention early on displeased the referee and earned him a booking. But as early aggression gave way to football, Darlington took control. With 17 minutes gone, a defensive mistake let John Borthwick in to open the scoring. Darlington's relief was obvious, and that goal enabled them to dictate the pattern of the match. Goal number 2 came just before half-time. A good build-up too, culminating in a cheeky Archie Stevens back heel into the path of David Corner. Indeed, it was Stevens, 2 minutes into the second half, who was claiming Darlington's 3rd goal. Again, it was helped by untidy Barnet defending, but Stevens was ruled offside. Barnet were rarely in the game now, although with 10 minutes to go, they should perhaps have made more of this effort. So, 2-0 to Darlington, who with games in hand over Barnet, look a good bet to make an instant return to 4th Division football next season.
Darlington had a golden opportunity to go back into 1st place in the Vauxhall Conference as they tried to win promotion back to the Football League. As it happened, the opposition, Macclesfield, proved tough opponents, as Steve Sutton reports.
After Saturday's superb win over Barnet, Darlington in the white had an opportunity to go to the top of the conference against 3rd-placed Macclesfield last night. The sides have met 4 times this season and Darlington haven't lost. But the 4,500 crowd was silenced after 18 minutes. Elfyn Edwards was grateful for the home defence's error. 1-0, and that's how it remained until 5 minutes into the second half. Then it was Macclesfield's turn to be indecisive in defence. Andy Toman, a major influence in Darlington's midfield, held off the challenge to make the scores all square. Unfortunately, the moment was soured by an off-the-ball incident between Darlington's David Geddes and Macclesfield's Elfyn Edwards. The referee didn't see it, the linesman did, and Geddes was sent off. Edwards had taken an elbow in the face and needed treatment for a full 5 minutes before he was able to continue. 9 minutes later, Darlington should have sewn up what had been a difficult game. McJanet's hard, low cross found John Borthwick in the clear, but his shot hit the post. The final score, Darlington 1, Macclesfield 1.
A John Borthwick hat-trick set the Quakers on course for a 4-0 win at Stafford Rangers. Brian Little's side looked nearly there, 5 points clear of Barnet, who could only draw.
There was a carnival atmosphere at Darlington, and when Andy Toman found John Borthwick with the quick free kick, the writing was on the wall. The Quakers' second had a bit of luck about it. Steve Mardenborough's run down the right finds David Cork in the centre, and the ball rebounds into the net off defender Anton Vercavs. Another move down the same flank brought the third in just 15 minutes. Borthwick heads straight for goal this time, and he finds the corner of the net. That was his second of the match and the 21st of the season. But while the celebrations began at half-time, the Darlington defence couldn't afford to relax. When they did, Mickey Nuttall lofted one over Mark Prudder and into the net. But the Feetham's favourites were soon back on course thanks to a blistering volley from skipper Kevin Smith. That made it 4-1. Then just to seal it, Andy Toman beats the offside trap and goes on to lob it over the keeper's head. So delight all round until the fans discover that rivals Barnet have scored a late winner, but the boss is still confident.
You know, we're delighted that we're weak played.
Year after losing their place, Darlington now need just 1 point to return to the Football League by winning the GM Conference title. Today they moved closer to promotion at home to Cheltenham.
The market traders who just 12 months ago were bemoaning Darlington's demise from the Football League are now reaping the benefits of the team's resurgence. And with so many filing into the Feetham's ground, the football club's landlords, the local cricket side, now get their rent paid on time. Today, over 5,500 fans watch Darlington set about regaining their league status with football of admirable quality. By half-time, they'd already established a 3-goal lead. The first as John Borthwick ghosted in to score from Toman's free kick. Then it was Mardenborough's skills setting up Cork. Luck was clearly not running Cheltenham's way. Next, a beautifully weighted pass from McJanet, and there was Borthwick celebrating his 21st goal of the season. A brief second-half interruption to allow Nuttall to give Cheltenham false hope before Darlington reimposed their authority, first through Kevin Smith, and finally from their record signing Andy Toman. Darlington 5, Cheltenham 1. 1 point still required to ensure league football next season, but in County Durham the celebrations have already begun.